with Greg Hatcher at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Honors Weekend, getting one of the top honors here, Order of Merit for your contributions to wrestling. What were your thoughts when you got a call from the Hall and said, hey, we'd like to celebrate what you've done for the sport? It had to be a unique deal.
Oh, I thought it was pretty cool. Leroy Smith called me, and I've gotten to know the Smith family so well, so that made it kind of nice, yeah.
Leroy mentioned at one point he met you, and you know, you wanted to know how you could help wrestling a little bit in Arkansas because you had a big wrestling background growing up. What went from that conversation to all the different things that you've been able to do for the sport, not just in your community but around the country? Because you know, it certainly when you started getting involved, it kept going.
Well, one of the stories nobody really knows is that I was coaching girls soccer in Arkansas at the AAU level with one of my daughters, and we played against Carol Smith Harden's daughter, Mary Pat, who came and played soccer for Oklahoma State. Well, before the game in the warm-ups, I had all my girls wrestle. Most soccer warm-ups don't include girls grabbing each other and throwing them to the ground. Well, the other teams always thought I was crazy, but she didn't. She wanted to meet the coach that had the girls wrestling, and so afterwards she explained to me who she was, and she wanted me to meet Leroy Smith, who was at Subiaco at the time in Arkansas.
Yep,
I said sure. So I went to meet Leroy, and we went to an Oklahoma State match, and I met John. And then shortly after that, we got wrestling started in Arkansas. I had another guy, Don Schuler, who was from Arkansas, say, hey, we need to get wrestling started.
Right, he was the old Athletes in Action guy, right? Don Schuler, right?
Well,
really good wrestler.
No, different Don
Different
Schuler.
one, okay.
This is just a
local
guy from
guy.
Arkansas
Okay.
who said he heard I wrestled in college and that we needed to start. I said, it's always been on my to-do list, let's do it. But certainly being introduced to Leroy and then all the Smiths later really helped. We probably started wrestling a couple more years earlier before I got Pat down there, but it was as a club sport, and by the time we got it sanctioned, Pat was there. Yeah.
Right, and you know, Pat Smith, people realize he was a great wrestler, first guy to get to 4, but I mean, you saw something in Pat as a person as well, right? To have him come down and be part of what you were trying to do.
Well, just because you're a great wrestler doesn't mean you're a good coach. There have been many great soccer wrestling coaches that you could outcoach and beat the tar out of. But what makes him different is he's got 3 things. He's A, a great wrestler, so he has the respect. B, he's a really great coach, okay? And 3, he's really good with kids, and he's got no ego. So he's the perfect combination. Kids love him and respect him. I have worked with numerous coaches, and I have about 5 or 6 coaches out at our fields where we do football, you know, basketball, soccer, wrestling,
Sure.
etc.
Yep.
But none, you know, is as well-rounded as he is in all the things. And we have great coaches. I've just seen a lot of great coaches, and he is really, really good. We are getting a major level Division I coach coaching our kids that's got the right temperament to do it.
So wrestling meant a lot to you when you were competing in it, and it meant enough for you to try to help other people get involved in the sport. But obviously you have the resources to do that. You had to put together a successful career. Was wrestling helpful in your ability to get involved in the insurance industry and have the, you know, the approach to making it a success?
Well, no question. I didn't start wrestling until I was in the 9th grade. So, you know, I'm a grinder, just, you know, always the kind of guy that was the hardest working guy on my team, maybe not necessarily the best. But I tried to rise to it and did as well as I could in the short period of time I was wrestling. I didn't realize how much I loved wrestling until I was out of college and I moved to a state that didn't have it, and there were no matches to see. Now I use wrestling metaphors and everything we do in the insurance business, and my son wrestles, and it's just been, you know, my son's a 3-time high school state champion going for his 4th this year. He's going to be a Division I quarterback. He says, you know, wrestling's not necessarily fun, but his kids are definitely going to do it, and when he gets his Division I scholarship, the difference will be that he's a wrestler because he's a 6'1" quarterback and they all want him 6'4", but his intangible that makes him that's going to get him where he needs to go is the wrestling, because the coaches love it. There aren't very many state champion, wrestling quarterbacks. So it's in every phase of our life. I tell my staff all the time, every time there's a problem, wrestle through it. Keep moving, keep going. And so I really appreciate what it does for diet. I appreciate, there aren't very many overweight older wrestlers. But once you develop that mentality, it stays. And I think what I've learned from having 20 years off from wrestling before we got it started again is I love old wrestlers, because they're just tenacious individuals. I can literally meet a guy, look at him, and know.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that with Tony Gazzoni this weekend. What an amazing guy.
Absolutely.
So, what do you feel when you go to the state tournament in Arkansas? 60 schools, you've got kids that are going on to wrestle at the high levels in college after getting out, and you help get that started. You got to feel a little bit, some pride, and just understand that it wasn't an easy journey to get that opportunity for all those kids.
Well, I am very happy. There's always a lump in my throat at some point or two during the tournament. What you may not know is that me and Pat Smith are the tournament directors in addition. So I've been the tournament director with Pat for the last 10 state championships and then the 3 club tournaments before. So kind of busy operating. And then later I started coaching, helping coach the high school team. So I'm really trying to keep a low profile, not upset the other coaches. It's a delicate dance. So I just try to be an administrator first and try to make it all about the coaches and the wrestlers. And, so far so good. And I'll be doing it till I can't physically do it anymore. What's the key to getting a college to add? I mean, we know that it's our challenge in wrestling. We can start kids programs everywhere. High schools, will embrace it when they have the opportunity. But when college is a lot of resource situations and there's so much other things involved. But what do you feel helped you get some of those schools in Arkansas to say, yeah, we want college wrestling? Well, here's a statistic for you that most people don't know. If me and Mike Moyer are in the same room with the college president and it's Division II or lower, right, we are 100%. We have closed every deal we've presented, because at the Division II and the Division III level, what those college presidents need is students. Students equals money. In other words, it's an easy sale because you're going to bring in 40 kids. They don't have to give away much scholarship money, and it's a net profit for the school. When I added it back at my alma mater, Alma College in Michigan, they dropped it 2 years after I graduated. 20 years later, we brought it back. We brought in 57 wrestlers by year 2, and the only cost they had was travel and a head coach and assistant coach. The college put a pencil to it, and it made the college over $1 million net. So it's very easy to sell Division II and III. What makes it hard on Division I is that it's an expense, because they feel like they've got to give the 9.9 scholarships, they feel like they've got to build a facility, they feel like they've got to hire coaches. So even at a mid-major Division I, we can show that it's a profit for them. If you bring 40 kids in the room and you give 10 scholarships basically away, you still got 30 kids paying. And those 30 kids paying, though it may be a percentage type deal, is still a net profit after you pay the coach's salary. So we have, I've built 3 college wrestling facilities for Division II and III programs. We have an offer out right now, that we will basically build a Division I facility for them. We'll hire the coaches and give them their salary for the first year so that we can get them up and going, okay? And then by then they have the students that pays for the program and makes it work. The other thing about adding college programs is ADs already are up to their ears with stuff to do. Adding another sport may not be a positive experience for them. Every sale to a high school and to a college, which is 68 high schools we've sold on adding wrestling, and 12 colleges so far for a total of 80 programs, has come either with the superintendent or the college president. It never starts with the athletic director. They bring the athletic director in later, but it really starts with the president, because that brings income in for the school. And then once they're on board, the ADs get on board, and it's been a very cooperative thing. But it's not what it always seems. Is the hurdle to get over. So we can get over facilities. We can get over any hurdle we want with some money. what I've done is just said, hey, if you add, I'll buy your wrestling mat and your uniforms, that kind of thing. And for them, for a high school, that gets them going. And I tell them when I talk to them, if they don't do it within 30 days, the offer's off the table. Because everybody has to have a deadline. Otherwise, schools can take forever. And I only can buy so many, so I go on to the next one if they say no. But they don't say no. They know it's good for the kids once we present it.
Have you enjoyed the weekend so far? Obviously, you know a lot of people out here because you're so close to Smith family, and the Hall of Fame is important to you. But has it been a nice experience being part of the honorees here?
Yeah, absolutely first class. I'm a wrestling fan, so I enjoy getting to meet people and hear the stories, and I love that the older they are, the better it is. You know, I love hearing that. So always good to make new friends and keep the old ones that I have. Yeah.
Well, we'd like to thank you first for all you've done for wrestling and congratulate you on this honor. And you know, we still have a fun evening tonight, so really enjoyed spending some time with you. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much.